Welcome to what is going to be the first video on this channel. I do mainly iRacing, Porsche Cup. I'm going to be uploading 2-3 times a week, a couple of races each video, keeping you up to date with my division standings, my SR, my IR, and most importantly, what I feel I am learning as a sim racer and as a driver as a whole. This week, it was Interlagos in the Porsche Cup. We had 3 races I'm going to be showing you, and they vary widely from some fantastic moments I had, some good battles, to some downright horrible driving for myself. Hope you guys enjoy. All right, so the first race is going to be a short one. I also lost the sound for this, so we're just going to have some lounge music, and I'll give you some car sounds here and there when they are important to the storyline. We stay in 4th place where we started for the first few turns. Coming into the fast left-hander, this guy's going up my inside, so I brake a little bit extra, swing wide to give him space, and somebody goes into the back of me. Now, watching it back, definitely, obviously was not on purpose. This first corner on cold tires sends so many people out wide, but unfortunately we take the bulk of that and we collect this guy right here who actually wished me a good race, so I want to apologize to him. I totally, well, maybe not totally ruined his race. He did finish with a decent result. We, however, are going to finish 15 laps down with terminal damage and losing quite a bit of IR and SR. Next race, starting in P2, and you might notice the guy ahead is the same person who took us out in the first race. Now we get overtaken down the starting line by Ben G. Peterson. Not to call him out, but he is a extremely fast driver, the #1 rated in this lobby. The guy in P1 goes a little bit wide, and luckily I managed to get past without hitting him on that corner. We then go side by side down the straight, and coming into turn 1, we managed to hang it around the inside. It's super hard to make a move, work around the outside, but props to that guy for trying. So P2, and coming through the infield, we just combine brake. I think we brake a little bit too hard. Our tires are cold, the track is cold, it's overcast. We then join straight back into the race. Luckily managed to not touch anybody, which really isn't anything for me. That is everybody else driving fantastically. We managed to find ourselves a little spot in what I believe is P6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, so we have managed to settle down into P6, where we stay for a while just following these guys through, and you can see it's bunching up quite a bit. So I know that this is going to be a pretty competitive pack here, and there is opportunity to move forward. However, I'm going to lose that opportunity when I go over this turn, which is so easy to do, and you'll see it many times throughout the races today. Absolute gods behind me managed to swerve without touching. We lose 4 positions there, and then coming down the straight, we actually lose another one, so we're into P11, I believe. Now, coming here, you can see, just like that front pack, this kind of middle pack has some pretty competitive or very close racing at the moment, at least. This is only the 3rd or 4th lap, so it's still very early. We try and take a wide entry and just kind of playing with the idea of getting ahead of somebody there, carrying more momentum through that turn, practicing a different line. The purple car does manage to get ahead of Mr. Dunkin' Donuts, and we settle in behind, locking his tires just barely, and that's gonna slow down the Dunkin' car as well. So we safely manage to hang it around the inside and get through both of those cars, so putting us up into P9. Now the 2 cars ahead are having some close interaction, and we're going to try and close that gap up as much as we can. The car in front of them, so 3 cars ahead of myself, has this strange run, and he slows down enough for both of these cars to overtake him going into this little uphill section. However, he does not want to give up both positions, and going into the very cambered left-hander, or not even quite making it there because they get knocked around and take each other out, which is going to put us into P7, which will turn into P6 very quickly as the yellow car spins out in the exact same place that we did, and the exact same place many other people will, including P4, which is right here on the second to last lap. He's going to have a similar circumstance, find himself in a similar circumstance, and we managed to take that one from him. So he falls from P4 to P6. We step up from P6 to P5, so top 5, which will be our finishing position for this race, gaining 0.16 safety rating and 52 IR, as well as 99 champion points. Starting the next race in P4, which turns into P5 pretty quickly as somebody gets ahead of us. However, the car in the middle brakes really hard and doesn't move over to the side, so I just go ahead and take that position. I was not intending to do that, but when an opportunity opens itself up like that, I am not one to pass it up. So we are going to start this race around the second corner and in a podium position. And then in the same corner where we got taken out in the first race, basically by him taking the line that I just took unwillingly. So we put ourselves back under pressure from behind. He moves to the outside, but for this corner, that just never works. The fastest way around there is just the shortest distance traveled, coming into what I consider to basically be the final turn, and we go flying wide on entry, flying wide on exit, and that is going to send us into the grass, falling down 3 positions in the end, I believe. So down to P6 again, which is a pretty comfortable place for me. I feel like that's typically where you're going to find some good battles. Smacking this guy on the boot, and as we come into that fast left-hander, the car in front goes wide, the purple car. So the blue car is going to try to go up the outside of this corner I was talking about earlier, which just doesn't work. We're going to tuck in behind the purple car and follow him through on the shorter, faster line, pretty easily gaining that position, taking a defensive line on the next turn just to solidify my position here. So we're up into P5, following the purple car around for a couple of laps, coming through the first little sector of turns, and I send myself a bit wide through the long left-hander, which does compromise my exit in the long run. There is a pretty long straight there, so I'm going to have to take a defensive line and manage to make this work. Try to give him some space, but he goes off the track behind, so I just go ahead and take as normal of a line as I can to maintain my speed. Next lap, coming into that turn, and I'm just trying to bait a dive here, but he just stays wide for so long that I eventually, I say, okay, release my brake and just go ahead past him. Now, that was not the faster line for either of us, so the car at the back of this little group is going to have a good run as the purple car has compromised himself. And number 11 again tries to go around the outside. This guy's going to tuck in exactly as I did, in the same spot behind the same car and passing the same car, also taking a defensive line on the next turn and solidifying a position gain for himself. Now we are paying full attention to the car ahead, chasing him down, and it only takes about 3 or 4 laps. It was mainly this first turn. You can see how far behind I was at the beginning of this turn, and as I come through it and come out, I've gained probably about half of a second onto him, and that was a theme of this race. As it progressed, I noticed that first turn was absolutely my fastest point. He was taking some very wide lines, so you can see him going all of the way to the right. And then as we come into the next couple of turns, he takes a pretty similar line, going very wide there and trying to come back, which seems like it would be faster. It is not. That turn, he takes it pretty cleanly, coming into the camber turn, and he swings really wide again. Almost, it looked like he was going to give me that position. I was thinking about going for it, but backed out. Now this next turn, he brakes early. I'm fairly certain that was just giving up the position. And as much as I would like a battle, I will never complain about a podium. However, that was about as far as I got, because as I come down this turn here, you'll see just how far behind I am to P2. With no real major mistakes this race, I did get in some traffic, but these guys at the front, as I'm coming up the hill, they're going down it, which is a pretty big distance covered, so no real chance of catching up with them. They were just way too fast, mainly focused on not flying off the track or making any race-ending mistakes, and we are going to cross the line there for our first and only podium of the week, which will be our last race of this week. Gonna go ahead and start prepping for the next one. Now, putting in a 35.6 as our fastest lap, which was our best of the week, and gaining some decent I rating. Looking at our division standings, and we are 27th overall. However, we are in Division 3, and there we are at the top. This guy Simon, though, is tied with us. So as the season progresses, I know that this is going to be a close one. Really looking forward to playing it out and seeing where it ends. That's going to be it for this week. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like and subscribe, please, if you did. It really helps me out. And I'll see you guys next week.